What's up, everybody? Sagacious dude here. Talk about the ending of Metal Gear Solid 5: Phantom Pain. I know it's been a while since I've made a video, and yeah, this is probably overdue, but I've had a lot of time to think about, the end of the game, what my reactions are and everything. I'm gonna kind of just go through it the way it's like popping in my head, basically. So try to keep up. This ending it's not like one of the great endings that everybody's like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. There's been a lot of like controversy and back and forth and people trying to figure it out and explain it, and then it's like, why is it good, why is it bad, why does it make sense, why does it not make sense? And I've tried to like look at it in different ways and try to understand it better. I think the main problem, like the big problem that a lot of people I think would have with it, because I haven't really watched other people's reactions because I want to keep mine fresh. But I have heard that people have had a problem with it, and I think that the main problem with it, which was the same problem that it was for me, should probably do this before we get into it. Spoiler warning: if you haven't beaten the end of the game, which I don't know why you'd be watching this video, but don't get mad at me because there are spoilers ahead, and there's probably going to be, I don't know, there might be spoilers for other Metal Gear games. I don't know. I'm just going to be talking, and we'll figure it out. At the end of this game, you find out that the entire game, you have not been playing as Big Boss. In fact, you are the medic. Which is funny because of all the theories saying, like, oh, Ishmael's a medic. No, Ishmael is Big Boss, the real, like, character. And you are Phantom Big Boss, which is Jim, the medic, because he doesn't really have a name. It's just, and it's, at this point, like, once I started seeing the ending and seeing everything come together, I'm like, there had to be shit that was leaked. Like, there just had to be. Like, because I kept saying, like, in my theory videos, if you've watched them, it's like you'll see me being like, I don't know where these people are getting these theories from. Like, I don't know where they're pulling, like, the body double theory. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Why are people thinking that there's a body double of Big Boss? I don't get it. And it's like, the medic. Why do people think the medic's the guy? And they just seem like real far out concepts, like real far grabs to try to, like, base a theory off of. And now I understand why. I think that there probably were leaks somewhere. Like, somebody said to somebody something, medic, medic, medic. And then people were like, medic, medic. And then they started trying to put shit together. And body double and all that stuff. And it's like, and those things kind of did happen, but not in the, which is good because it was a surprise. But basically, like I said, I think that there were some things that got out that weren't supposed to, and it kind of warped the way that the theories were going. Because, like I said, there were reasons, like, I couldn't find the reason that these people were thinking these things, and now I get it. Because people, like, some people got a hold of information, made theories, and then other people made theories off those theories, like I do, like, because people want you to, like, oh, you theorize about this, well, talk about that, and I'm like, I haven't heard about that, so I'd have to go look at other people's shit and see what they were saying about it, and then I'd be like, okay, I kind of understand it, and then I'd look into it for myself and try to figure things out, and then, like, I wasn't seeing where they were getting the information from. Anyway, you find out you're the medic, you're Jim the medic, who is now Phantom Big Boss, and, the whole game you've been this other guy, and the real Big Boss just left at the beginning of the game. And, you've dealt with all this shit, and you've gone through all this shit, and you've built Diamond Dogs and done everything, and it's like, it suffers from the problem. Like, I've talked about this in the other videos when I was like, the body double theory, the reason I was against it so hard is because it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense in the story, because, I mean, if you look at the back of the fucking box, it's a revenge game. Like, this tells a story about revenge. Outer Heaven was destroyed, and Big Boss is rebuilding his unit, coming back, gonna get revenge on Zoff, revenge on Skullface, going after Cypher, the whole theme that they've been pushing this entire time, it kills it. Because it doesn't make sense. And it does one of the thing I don't really like about this ending, the reason the one thing I hate about it, and it's not a terrible ending, but it's just like the one thing I hate about it, as far as the canon goes, is it really like discredits and kind of defames and depowers Big Boss. Like, Big Boss, greatest soldier in the world. The man do anything. He's awesome and he's badass, and then they just take him. You know, he fucks off and put his memories into this guy, and now he's Big Boss. It kills a lot of the running themes, like the whole genetics, like the twin snakes, Solidus. It's like Big Boss had something special about him, even though he didn't have like any type of weird superpowers or anything. Like, something about him, like genetically, his person, like who he is, made him like this amazing like soldier, and everybody wanted to follow him and be him and respect him and all those things. And so they made copies of him because they wanted to have that. It takes away from it. It just does. The biggest thing is it really makes Big Boss look like a pussy, kind of. And I hate to say that, and I know, like, yeah, but let me explain, alright? Okay, you're Big Boss. Alright. Somebody comes to your house and burns the whole place down, fucks everything up, kills your friends, destroys everything that you've created. You know, everything you were trying to build, everything, you know, all that work and time and friends and everything. And it's like revenge. You know, I get it. The plot, this is what, you know, we gotta hit back, we gotta strike back, we gotta rebuild, we gotta be better, we gotta get back what we lost, take back what we lost. That was the whole game. And instead of doing that at the beginning of the game, well, not at the beginning of the game, but at the end of the game, because the end is the beginning, but he just leaves. Yes, he goes to leave to build like his own real outer heaven, and that's what we're told, and you know, that's great and all, but when you think about everyone else involved, like Ocelot, you know, fucking Miller, all the soldiers, everybody, it's like you know, your comrades that died for you, that fought for you, that, you know, your friends, he just said, fuck it, like, I don't care. And he runs away. He runs away from Skullface. He runs away from everybody. And another thing that it messes with the canon is that it says, like, even in the little timeline, it's in the first game, like Metal Gear 1, when Solid Snake kills Big Boss. He doesn't really kill real Big Boss. He kills Phantom Big Boss. And then real Big Boss comes in the second game. It's weird. I don't know. It's just, it kind of, like, messes with things. And people don't like when you mess with things. Another weird thing is the fact that because of the body double theory, Jim the medic had to wake up from his coma at about the same time that Big Boss did, which is like near impossible to, like, how did that happen? That doesn't make any sense. It's just, and nobody ever talks about it. And Big Boss was in a coma the whole time because they have all those tapes about when Big Boss was in a coma, and then there's even a tape where he talks about being in a coma. And so he was in a coma for 9 years, but so was Jim the medic, which is weird. It could have worked, like this whole body double thing, like the fact that they had to bring this other guy in, it could have worked. It could have made sense. If, like, because I kept thinking about it, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. It's like, if only they had done something different. Like, you could have done something different and I would have been okay with it. Like, you could have had a point in the game where Big Boss gets captured by Skullface, and you're like, oh shit, what are we going to do? We're captured, we can't get away. Skullface, you know, doing his evil things and monologuing and telling you about how he's going to win and take over the world and all that shit. And you're just like, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to do anything? Like, it's like, you know you're going to get out of it because you're Big Boss. You're the legendary soldier. You got to do this. You got to get out. And then it would have been great if, like, you just had a point where Skullface was like, and now I'm going to execute you, and then he kills you. And you're like, what the fuck? Wait, what? That doesn't make sense. Big Boss doesn't die. And then all of a sudden, real Big Boss busts in and then takes out Skullface. It would have been cool if they had set the game up to make, to the necessity for the body double, to make it make sense. Like, have this guy, you know, drawing attention away from Big Boss, which, like, they kind of do, but it doesn't, you'll understand when I'm finished, whatever. But you take this guy, so he's drawing attention off of Big Boss because he's Big Boss and he's building this thing, and so it draws the attention of Skullface. what would have been cool is if Skullface was more reserved and in the background and like didn't really show up a lot, kind of like Zero is, and basically would have had it where he, like, by capturing Big Boss, he would finally like show himself and be out in the open. And you would find out that actually in the background of the whole game, the real Big Boss was like tracking Skullface down and tracking Cypher down and all this stuff. And kind of going behind the scenes, using you as a cover so that he could go and get the guy and get revenge. And it would have been sweet. And then, so he would have showed up, killed Skullface, got revenge, you would have died like a hero, and then it would have been cool too, because then nobody could have known about it, they couldn't tell anybody, oh yeah, we had this other guy, and he stood in, and then there was another Big Boss. No, have a secret funeral where he's being burned with the Diamond Dog flag over him, and Big Boss standing there with Miller and Ocelot, and they're like, the world can never know about this. Can never know he existed. It's but he's a hero. He saved us all. It's just that would have been awesome. Then, just kind of that secret hero, without you, the Big Boss couldn't have achieved his revenge. Because that's the problem. That's what's wrong with the way it ends now, is because Big Boss didn't get revenge. He didn't do any of the things that this game was building up to. It all the themes that it was just hitting over the head over and over again, it didn't do. He ran away. He said, fuck it, I'm gonna go do this thing. And yes, you could argue that him making Outer Heaven is somehow revenge, or he was wise enough to let revenge go, but he just took this other guy and threw all that responsibility onto someone else to deal with. And that's another thing. It makes Big Boss look bad because Jim the medic, who's just a guy, yeah, he might have been an awesome soldier, whatever, but they just basically gave him some shitty plastic surgery. Frankly, it was shitty, because if you look at Big Boss's face at the end of the game, his face is completely fine. This guy's face is jacked up, and he done had plastic surgery to look like Big Boss. And he's got Frankenstein scars and shit. Kills because Jim the medic is now more badass. Jim the medic went out and he's I'm gonna get revenge, and he got revenge. He beat Skullface, he took down Zoff, he did all the things, he built Diamond Dogs, he did all the things that you associate with Big Boss. It's not genetically altered to be like Big Boss, he just looks like him and has his memories. That's it. Like I said, it kills a lot of the themes that are created throughout the game. The whole genetic thing, the whole cloning thing, Big Boss being special. It's just, I don't know, it kills it. But, with all this, I've given it deeper thought, and I've gone into it deeper. And this is where I kind of get off the beaten path, where my reasoning starts to try to, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I kind of pulled back, and I started to look for the deeper meaning. What does this ending say to me? How do I choose to interpret it? What's the undertones? All that, all the things that are said but not really said. You know what I mean? So I started to look at it, and I started to analyze it, and I was thinking about it, and I'm when you think about this game, this might be the end. I'm pretty sure this is the end, because it's this is the last Metal Gear Solid game probably they're gonna make, because Konami fired Kojima for reasons. I don't really follow all the gaming politics and stuff and what's going on, but as far as I can tell, Konami's kind of just done with all the games, and they're doing pachinko or some shit. And they got rid of Kojima, and it's I don't know who owns the license and what's going on with that, or will we ever get another Metal Gear game, or is this the end? This, from when you're looking at the creator standpoint, it's this is kind of the end. This is the last game we're probably gonna make, because who knows what's gonna happen after this with all this shit going down. And it kind of makes you look at it in a different way, and if you think about your past experiences, if you've played other Metal Gear games, you'll kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about, is that a lot of Metal Gear games, they're different because they like to break the fourth wall every now and then. They kind of like to talk to the player. They kind of like to acknowledge that you exist. There's a line specifically in Metal Gear Solid 2 that I always think of, is when Raiden first meets Pliskin, aka Solid Snake. Spoiler alert. But he's talking to him and he's telling him about, like, you know, I went through VR training, and he's like, VR training? War? He's like, war is a video game. What better way to train the perfect soldier? And I've always like, I'm playing a video game, and it's about that. And it's like, it's just things like that, and it's like, it's always had like these strong messages about, like, you know, nuclear deterrence and understanding like the world and all that stuff, and genetics, and how do we pass on who we are? Is it through genetics, or is it through, like, you know, our experiences, and we pass it down to the next generation, and all this stuff, like, kind of culminate. So if you think about that, and you kind of like look at things in a different way, and you kind of look at this game in a different way, and you look at this ending, like, if you really like kind of overly analyze it, and you look at it from the fans of a super fanboy who's just trying to make it make sense, damn it, then you might understand what I see in it. And it's kind of like basically you've taken just a regular guy like Jim the Medic. Yeah, like I said, he's a soldier, but he's not Big Boss. He was not known before this. You know, he was just some guy. You know, maybe just some guy like you or some girl. They've basically taken him and injected like all of Big Boss's memories. Well, you know, we've kind of been through that because we've played the other games and we've seen Big Boss come to this point, you know, and shown that this guy with Big Boss's memories, you know, that he became like this great soldier. And it kind of rings home to more of that, like, by passing on our experiences, you know, it's a different way to shape people, you know, passing on our memories and everything, and teaching people based on what we've learned from it. And so it's kind of like that scene from like The Lion King, which most people have seen it, but it's funny. Like, there's a part where the lion he ran away from home, whatever, but he's looking in this pond, and when he looks into the pond, he sees his father, and there's a baboon, and the baboon's like, he lives on in you. And that's what that scene where he's looking in the mirror, that's what it reminded me of, when Big Boss is talking to the character, but it's kind of like he's talking to the player as well. It's like all the things that we've done, the legacy we've built, you know, because the game itself wouldn't be anything without the fans, you know. If people weren't playing the game, it wouldn't be as big as it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were part of it. We gave it life. We did theory videos. We analyzed it. We tried to understand things. We do all this stuff to make it bigger than it is, bigger than it began. So we kind of built it. We made Big Boss a legend. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so it's kind of like saying to the fans, you know, that, you know, the legend never really dies. You know, it's not over. Big Boss is still in you. He's in you and he's in me, and we're all big bosses. And I know it sounds like, wow, this guy takes it way too seriously, and it kind of does. I don't really care if you're a nerd or a geek or whatever, and you understand what I'm talking about. Where you like, these things are more than just like a form of entertainment. They're a part of who you are, because I mean, like, think about it. I've played since, you know, the first Metal Gear game. You know, I have memories of playing the games, and, you know, for the first time, and learning things, and like finally understanding things, and it's become part of who I am. It just is. It's like, now, do I think I can just go out on a battlefield and just do all the CQC and shit? No, not like that. I'm just talking about, like, as a gamer, as my experience, like, the games you play, you know, they become part of who you are. like, I have stories. I remember the first time I played the game was with my friend, like when I played the original Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation, which some people remember even back further than that, like on the MGX, which and all that shit, like the very first ones. And some people have been with it from the beginning, and they've played them. Like, I've grown up with these games. That's what's, it really hits hard with the nostalgia, you know? But yeah, I remember when I played it for the first time, we got to the Psycho Mantis part, and he says, "Put your controller on the floor," and we're just like sitting there like, what the fuck? And we put the controller on the floor, and then nothing happens. and I look over at him, I'm like, because the rumble pack in the controller was broken, so it's complete. It's just funny. But then we're like, I think it's the rumble pack or something. So we put the rumble pack. We unplug the controller, put another controller in, and then like it rumbles, and we're like, oh, that's awesome. And it's just cool. And he reads the memory card, and it's like you just have all these memories of growing up with it, and like you kind of learn lessons and how to, like, what it means to be determined and be a good person, and like. The game teaches kind of a lot of lessons, and it has a lot of like things that just kind of stick with you over the years. And I think that's kind of what the ending is saying. It's like, you know, Big Boss is like, the story lives on, the legacy is with you, and you know, you take that and you share that with others, and you make YouTube videos about theories, and people think you're crazy because you and you're just some guy in a room, and you're just, there's walls of theories and shit. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it had a big effect on me. I mean, fuck, like most of my videos not that popular. These are the Metal Gear Solid theories became like the kind of staple of this channel, and gave me something to talk about. And I've enjoyed doing them, and I've had fun with it. And I like it because I've got to learn more about my like favorite franchise, basically. And the more I learn about it, the more I like it, and the more I love it, I guess. I'll say love, damn it. But yeah, I think that's kind of how I decided to take it. Because Big Boss, like, you see him, or Phantom Big Boss is looking in the mirror, and he's looking at himself, and then, you know, he punches the mirror, and he breaks it, and there's other Big Boss over there. And it just kind of rings home. It's like, you know, it's done, but it's not over, I guess. You know, it'll always be a part of who you are. If you're a hardcore, like softcore, whatever, serious gamer, you know, if you're a nerd, if you love these things and you've grown up playing them, then it's kind of sad to see it end. But I don't know. I'll always remember them, and I may like go back and play them from time to time. If I ever have kids, I'll probably like, oh, you gotta check this out, kids. You gotta play this Metal Gear game. It's awesome. And it's cool to like think about it in those terms. And it's like, I know it's a video game, and I know that some people probably don't get it, and it's okay. There are lots of things that I like that people don't get. But I guess, you know, those are my thoughts, and I just kind of wanted to get them out there and let you guys know. And yeah, I don't know if, like, this might be the end of these videos, because I don't know if there's gonna be any more, but we'll see what happens. Well, I guess I'll just let it end here. Yeah, those are my thoughts on the game, and I just wanted to kind of share them, let you guys know. And see you later.
You've written your own history. You're your own man. I'm Big Boss, and you are too. No, he's the two of us together. Where we are today, we built it. This story, this legend, it's ours. We can change the world, and with it, the future. I am you, and you are me. Carry that with you wherever you go. Thank you, my friend. From here on out, you're Big Boss.